What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we are going to be discussing our top 10 right now in center field. MLB Network does this countdown each and every single offseason, and we have put out our list corresponding to that. So this video is going to be about the top 10 center fielders right now. Now, before I get into my number 10 center fielder in the game today, definitely encourage you, make your list. Let me know that down in the comments. Who are your top 10 center fielders right now? So we begin our list with number 10. Now, number 10 on my list is Cody Bellinger. Bellinger is now moving to the Chicago Cubs, and I think that a change of scenery is really going to be a true big-time benefit for a guy like Cody Bellinger. This is a former MVP player in the National League, and a little bit of tweaking, I think, and kind of getting away from the area that kind of polluted him in the past couple of seasons with the Dodgers. Not that there were a bad spot for him to be in, but I just think that a change of scenery, hearing some different voices in his ear with some new coaches, can definitely help a player like this get back to that MVP caliber form. Now, there are some questions about whether or not the injury to his shoulder has now played into the fact that he can no longer kind of get that torque and that leverage in his swing. But we're going to see how things kind of shake out here in 2023, and to be able to take a flyer on a guy that is a high caliber player who has been an MVP in the past definitely can reach our number 10 on the list. Now, as we look at number 9 on my list, it is the Chicago White Sox, Luis Robert. I think that when you look at this player, this is a guy who should be heading towards the top of this list. However, injuries have derailed that for him. Not being able to play a full season of baseball is really hindering the talent and the ability of Luis Robert. I think that if Robert is able to play in the majority of the White Sox games in 2023, he really will have his talent, his skill set shoot him right up this list. But not being able to be on the field really hinders his ability and how much he can help his team. So I think that going into 2023, we're hoping for a positive year health-wise for Luis Robert, and that will elevate his placement on the top 10 center fielders right now. Now, number 8 on my list is the New York Yankees, Harrison Bader. Now, Bader didn't have a ton of time in the regular season with the New York Yankees, but he made a big-time impression in the few games that he had in the regular season, and more so even in the postseason. I think a full year of a healthy Harrison Bader for the New York Yankees, especially given the defense that he plays in center field, can really benefit not just the player, but also the team. I think that for Bader, being able to go to a place where he finds himself playing extremely comfortably in Yankee Stadium, it has shown itself up in a very short amount of time. I think that there's an opportunity for Harrison Bader to really take that next step in his career in 2023. Now, number 7 on my list is the most talked about center fielder, the most discussed and bantered about this offseason, Byron Reynolds. I think that when you look at Byron Reynolds, the Pirates are asking for a king's ransom for this player, and there's a very good reason why they're asking for such highly touted prospects. I think that when you look at what Reynolds can be for a contending team, this is a game-changing bat. Now, is he going to be of the upper echelon power threats in the lineup? Maybe not. But what he's going to provide is a level of consistency. He is going to drive in runs. He is going to hit home runs. This is going to be a force in the middle of your lineup. So I think that when you look at what Byron Reynolds can be for a contending team in 2023 and beyond, this is a very good player to have. And that's why he makes the top 10 center fielders right now. Now, number 6 on my list is Brandon Nimmo. When you look at Nimmo and his skill set, you wouldn't necessarily think of him as the greatest center fielder in terms of his defensive prowess. He likely projects better as a corner defender. But when you place him in center field, especially in Citi Field with kind of the adjustments that they've made to that ballpark, this is a much more than adequate player playing in that position. I also think that offensively, what Brandon Nimmo provides the Mets is something of a real impactful bat. when you look at what Nimmo can be on this Mets team in 2023 and beyond, this is going to be a consistent staple atop their order. And that's really where his biggest value is going to come in, with his ability to get on base, do some damage on the base pass, but also being able to be a pesky good at bat. I think that Brandon Nimmo is without question one of the best players in Major League Baseball and one of the top 10 center fielders right now. As we get into number 5 on the list, I think that there is an upper echelon here as we start to approach the maybe top 6 or 7, but really the top 5 are difference makers here. Michael Harris II for the Atlanta Braves, to me, came on and had such an impactful and impressive rookie season. I think that there's an opportunity for Harris to continue to get better, which is a scary thought and scary proposition for those teams in the National League East. I think that when you look at what this player can be for a contending Braves team, this is a difference maker. You think back to those teams, those Brave teams of the 90s when they had Andrew Jones manning center field. This is going to be a high caliber player. I think that he is going to, as he continues to mature, get better offensively and defensively. Again, very scary proposition. One of the top 5 center fielders in the game for me right now. As we get into the number 4 center fielder in the game, this player, honestly, easily could find himself number 1 on this list. But Byron Buxton's biggest problem is staying healthy. For Byron Buxton, if he could have a full healthy campaign, playing 145, 155 games in a season, his numbers would absolutely be ridiculous. They would be video game-esque numbers. But because of his inability to stay healthy, this is a player that falls down the rankings, in my opinion. Now, yes, he is still in the upper echelon, in my opinion, because of how great he is when he is on the field. Offensively, I think that he is still developing and finding his game, but what he's able to do in the field, what he's able to do on the base pass when he gets on base, this is a player that changes the course of the game on both sides of the ball. And I think that when you have that, especially a player of this elite level defensively, this is a game-changing player in a very demanding position of center field. It is very much a position where you have to have some semblance of focus on defense. That's why they say that championship caliber teams are strong up the middle: catcher, shortstop, second base, center field. This is a player that changes the game for the Minnesota Twins, but again, when he is healthy. Now, as we look at the number 3 player on my list, it is Cedric Mullins of the Baltimore Orioles. Now, Mullins has been a part of this team, but has really blossomed over the past couple of seasons once he gave up switch hitting. I think that there's an opportunity for Cedric Mullins to find himself becoming even better of a player in 2023 and beyond. As he continues to mature, continues to develop himself as a player, this is going to be a guy who you can really start to bank on if you're a fan of the Baltimore Orioles as the franchise center stone, the cornerstone piece of the next phase of Baltimore Oriole playoff baseball. I think that Cedric Mullins has proven himself as an offensive force as well as being a very good defender in center field. Now, before we get into, we have a corresponding article up on laracuenteledger.com, so I will leave links to that video down in the show notes below. And if you want to, we have a giveaway that we're going to be running as we hit 500 subscribers here on this YouTube channel. We're going to be giving away a thermos of the channel, Baseball Banter Broadcast thermos here, as you can see with the logo, as well as the team name on it. Now, stay tuned to the very end to find out how you can be entered into that draft giveaway. So, as we get into number 2. Now, the number 2 player on my top 10 center fielders right now list, easily and probably should be number 1, it's Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners. Rodriguez had an absolutely breakout campaign in his rookie season for the Seattle Mariners, really helping elevate them and push them to the postseason for the first time since 2001. But when you look at what this player is going to be, this is without question going to be one of the best players in all of Major League Baseball. The only reason he doesn't make number 1 on this list, and very easily could be, is the number 1 center fielder in the game today. I can't take him out of that spot yet. But Julio Rodriguez having another season in 2023 as he had in 2022, easily becomes the #1 center fielder in the game today. So I think it's very obvious then at that point, Mike Trout is the #1 center fielder in the game. Yes, there's a lot of questions as to how he can continue to be #1 in the game, especially losing out so much time over the past couple of seasons. I think a healthy Mike Trout in 2023 can go back and show the world exactly why we said that this was the next coming of Mickey Mantle, one of the greatest players of all time, arguably the greatest player of all time. Yes, there's a chronic back issue that we're now going to have to deal with. And if Trout continues to miss games for this, he's going to fall rapidly down this list because of the players that are encroaching on him, that are coming up and pressing up against this #1 spot in terms of center fielders. I think that for Trout, if he can go out, play 145, 150, 155 games in 2023, that is going to allow him to maintain the stronghold he has had on the #1 center fielder spot in the game today. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings. Who are the top 10 center fielders right now in Major League Baseball? Leave that down in the comments and we can continue the discussion over on Twitter at @banter_baseball. Now, as I said a moment ago, we are doing a giveaway here as we hit 500 subscribers for this YouTube channel. We are going to be giving away one of these thermos from the Baseball Banter Broadcast. Now, specific ways to be entered into the contest giveaway: you have to be a subscriber here on YouTube. As a subscriber here on this YouTube channel, that enters you in to the draft that we're going to be running for this particular giveaway. If you want to gain extra entries, there are 3 other options, 3 other ways to do so. You can follow us on our Instagram page under the name Baseball Banter Broadcast, as well as our TikTok page under the same name, Baseball Banter Broadcast, or you can follow us over on Twitter at @banter_baseball. Those are the only ways to get entered into this contest, just by following us on those pages on social media, being a subscriber to this channel. You gain yourself extra entries by doing all 4. So make sure you keep it locked in by hitting the subscribe button if you haven't already done so, as the best way to win the giveaway, but also to keep up to date with the latest news, notes, and my personal thoughts, theories, and opinions on the game of Major League Baseball. Peace.